news media have been asking about strategies about the UAW. Well, let's talk about the nefarious or evil-like strategies of Ford Motor Company. Let's get something going and let us take care of our members.
Are you on? Which side are you on?
Brother Todd Dunn. He started as a vehicle assembly technician in the commercial light truck department in 1995, where he very quickly threw himself into union work. In fact, in just a year, he was already serving. He currently serves on Kentucky's labor management cabinet, and most importantly, he is president of UAW Local 862 in Louisville, Kentucky, where 87 UAW members at Ford walked off the job on strike last week. He joins us now. Todd, welcome to the program.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good, brother. How are you?
Pretty good. We've got close to 9,000 employees on strike. We're trying to process all of the strike sign-ups for the strike benefit. We processed about 3,500 yesterday over at our Kentucky Fair and Exposition Center, and hopefully we'll get another 3,000 today and finish up on Sunday mostly.
Well, there you go. And that's something that people don't really think about with the strike. There's a lot of logistical stuff that, you know, the leadership and the officers and volunteers from the rank and file do to make sure that, you know, people are able to get the support that they're entitled to from the union and help them with anything else that they might need during the strike. So that's, you know, it's a lot of, you know, wow, a lot of the leadership, they don't get any time off during a strike. In fact, in some cases, they work more than when when they're off strike.
You know, it's really amazing. I spoke to our volunteers yesterday. You know, we're relying on a lot of assistance. We had five people come up from international auditors to get the process going. Other than that, it's just volunteers, and it's amazing to see how many show up. It's a 4-hour duty once a week, and we've got, you know, 50, 60 members right now doing the process of strike registration for about 40 hours this weekend alone. So, yeah, it's all.
Yeah. Yeah, but like many hands make light work. So if you're able to get a good bunch of people in there, you can do you can trim it down for folks. So, but you know, before we talk some more about, you know, the current situation and the current strike, I'm interested in talking to you about, you know, your union work. You know, I read your bio on the UAW's website, and like I said in the intro, you really jumped right into working with the union. Why is that?
You know, when I first started out, I started a job called the Chain Gang. And it was funny. There was 11 of us hired in. 2 of us knew how to paint, but they needed a couple men upstairs on the Chain Gang. And finally, I said, quit arguing over me. Let's go. Once I got up there, I realized, you know, how tough that work was, where the units come over from body shop. So you have a metal vehicle, if you will, just a shell. And then we have to hang it on chains, and it goes through dip tanks to be E-coated, where it gets a paint coating on the whole surface. So that job up there in the summer would get, you know, 99, 98 degrees, sometimes 100. And sometimes you'd have 100% humidity because of the weather and the eco phosphate pre-rent. So, I mean, you were wringing wet every day. You were dancing on rollers. You would tear the soles off your shoes quite often. A lot of shoulder injuries, and I thought, man, this is crazy. This is not the way to do things. And got involved with ergonomics and start holding the company accountable for the heat index on the training wet bulb we would utilize to know what type of working conditions were, and we held the company accountable. So it just kind of gave me a sense of pride and honor to do something to leave it better than I found it, just to simplify things. And that's where I got my.
And, you know, and if you don't mind me saying so, it sounds like you were raised in the South. Is that right?
Absolutely, 100%.
And so, we're born and raised in the South. My brother Adam over here is from Mississippi. I'm from here in Alabama. And you're in Kentucky right now. I don't know if you grew up there, but being in the South, right? People tell us that unions are bad all the time. We're, that we don't need somebody getting in between us and our employer, and that they do nothing. They don't do anything for workers except take our money. And so obviously none of us here believe that. But what was it that convinced you that, all of this is, all of that stuff that we grow up hearing around here is all just, nonsense? It's not true.
I grew up in a union household. My father was a Teamsters truck driver. He didn't talk a lot about unions, but I knew he was in a union. I knew I got taken to those union meetings. I saw these guys talking. I saw them communicate, making plans, talking about issues. And so I kind of had a little bit of unionism in my blood. But the main thing was my father just taught me the value of a dollar. Hard day's work. Work hard, play hard, get in there and get it done. Take care of your family unit. And I think just the systemic outlook on unions, members just don't get talked to enough, from their peers. My main thing is if you don't have a foot in the door, if you don't have a voice in the room, you don't have anything. And so many workers, I think, are so programmed to go work for the company store. They provide a check and they're taking care of me, but that's not true. You're going to work. You want to be treated fairly. You want a fair day's work for a fair day's pay. And I think these are good times, right? These times here are great times to have for people across the United States to go, damn, maybe there's something to this, right? Maybe there's something to having a union, and it truly is, because when you have a collective bargaining agreement with a company and you see how language can hold the company accountable, you see what you can do. You see what you can do for your brothers and sisters on the line. I always said our union members have that sauce, that special sauce, but hoping them find it. With this strike, you're seeing members stand up, and we got so many intelligent people in that plant. I got a friend, Adam Hobach. He came to me about 5 weeks ago through one of the team leaders in the plant, and this guy is super smart. He's very intelligent. He's just got all these skills, and he said, man, I want to do this. I got to keep doing this. Matter of fact, I'm going to run for committee person. We're 2 years away from the election. He said, I don't care. This is what I want to do. So you're starting to see the solidarity come together, and these union members see them working themselves, right, through this process. And a lot of people are really turning heads. If you look at our union, we got 12,300 plus active workers. We got about 6,000 retirees and surviving spouses. The active workforce, we're a right to work state, right? You don't have to belong to. Matter of fact, the union still has to represent you. We've got one member out of over 12,000 members that's not paying union dues. So that tells you, right, something's going on. Somebody's doing something right. And there might be something union stuff, if you're not educated or you don't know what the union is. So I really lift that up, and I lift our membership up for believing in what we do.
Yeah, brother, that is wild. Maybe I might have to hit you up after this strike is over and get some of your organizers to come borrow them for my union, get our density up, because having one fella out of 12,000 that ain't paying dues is really amazing. And you're in the South, you're in Kentucky, and companies like Ford, they come here to the South to get away from unions, to get away from higher wages and better working conditions and pensions. They come here to exploit us, right? We're the last stop on the way to Mexico. And y'all have nearly 100% membership in your shop. Y'all just went out on strike. Y'all produce the majority of Ford's profits. So, how do you keep up that level of solidarity among your Southern membership? And what can other unions, around here do to replicate some of the success that you've seen at 862?
My true belief is communication is key. It's king, king of the road, if you will. We're always broke as communicators, no matter in our personal lives or at work. And we're always trying to achieve a better communication process with our membership. Over time, grassroots, right? That grassroots committee walking through the plant. When I came through my ranks of leadership, I would wake up, get in there before work, walk in the membership, work all day, do the best I could to utilize the contract, but more so I used common sense guided by an earnest desire to serve my people with servant leadership. And I would walk out the door with them. And, that resonates with people. They understand that. They see that. It is what it is. It's what you put into it. And down here in Kentucky, I mean, you look at Toyota, right? So I can remember 18, 20 years ago, being a young lad there, a committee person, wanting to be a part of the solution. Going to Toyota Manufacturing down at TMK, Toyota Manufacturing in Kentucky. And we just got pummeled. We got just tore up. 50% card signed, wanted to be union, and we lost that election by a very large margin. It's somewhat depressing when we were there because we put a lot into it. But then we came back home knowing what we got under that kind of comfort level. But what I'm seeing now, I saw something on social media yesterday where a good friend of mine who's a member sent to me, and a friend of theirs' son works at Toyota. Right now, as we speak, we've got people that's got that cricket machine and they've made their own shirts or had shirts printed. Toyota manufacturing people are wearing UAW shirts in the plant on the factory floor, and I can't believe that Toyota hasn't tried to discipline them or fire them, supporting auto workers. So I think you're going to see some tides turn there as well. It's a time to be union. The companies are making super profits. KTP alone, every minute, Ford Motor Company at the Kentucky truck plant is profiting $48,000 per minute, $220 million a week, $29 billion a year. And that's one plant at the Kentucky truck plant. So we make there 54% of all North American profits. Our leadership, you hear Bill Ford talk about, this is the family. We are family. Respect him, worked with him, know him, good fella. But when it comes down to it, there have been times when, we felt like we were in the Ford family, but there's zero family feel at all. And that's something I've been sharing yesterday. We had 13 interviews. I think 8 of them were on national outlets, and they were saying, the best deal. Bill Ford said, this is the Ford family. And I said, I don't know of any person that I've talked to in Michigan Assembly, in Chicago, who I've been dealing with, on their strike, because we're, iron sharpens iron. We work with each other, or my men that are on strike. Nobody has that family feeling. You don't leave your family behind. And then on top of that, to keep us out of the battery plants, to keep us thwarted away from being a part of the electrification and electric vehicles, EVs, when that's coming. It's almost like their strategy is to divide us and conquer, and that's not going to happen. Our future is the future of all those around us in our community. 9 ancillary jobs, vendors, suppliers, mom and pop shops, restaurants are created for every one auto worker. People argue 9 or 10. So let's just take the 10 math, right? So there's over 120,000 people in our community that are also affected with the members of Local 862 between the Kentucky truck plant and Louisville Assembly plant. If they don't think that our future is their future, then they're mistaken. And I know they know that because we're getting support across the board. Right now, Ford Motor Company, Stellantis, and GM have about a 7% approval rating. So what does that tell you? That tells you that people in the unions, people seeing unions are supporting and they're starting to understand what that is. And when you talked about in the South, about how so many members really take for granted unions or won't vote a union in, it's like you're voting against yourself, right? And all I would do is I would ask for people across the United States today would be just give us a look, ask questions, inform yourself, and then make a decision on whether you want to be union or not. And I think we're going to start seeing a big trend change and go the other way.
I think so. You're from your lips to God's ears. And so, you mentioned y'all are on strike right now. You went on, and it's the Kentucky truck plant going on strike is notable for two reasons in my mind, and you touched on the first, and that's that y'all are Ford's moneymaker. I mean, $48,000 revenue a minute. That is more, y'all produce more value for Ford than many UAW members make in a year in just 1 minute. Right. And so, I mean, that is really, really huge. But another reason that it's notable is because y'all were called out on strike in a different way than, the whole stand-up strike is different than the UAW has done over the past several contracts. But y'all were called out on strike even in a different way than some of the other plants were called on during the stand-up strike. And Shawn Fain explained that on his live stream yesterday. And so I pulled a clip of him talking about how y'all went out on strike, and so Adam, let's play this, and then we'll go back to Todd.
All right.
And let me tell you the story of how the mighty Kentucky truck plant of UAW Local 862 transpired. For 2 weeks, Ford's been telling us there's more money to be had. They've said, hang on, we're close, but there's still some room to continue to sweeten the deal. On Wednesday, they owed us an offer, and they gave us a call. They wanted to meet over Zoom, and they wanted to pass the same economic offer that they passed 2 weeks ago, with no more money. So we said, if you're going to offer us nothing, you're going to do it to our face with our full national negotiating team in the room. We went to Ford headquarters to see what they had to say for themselves. It was not a long meeting. They tried to give us the same deal that we rejected 2 weeks ago, and not a dollar more. So at that point, I said, that's all you have for us? Our members' lives and my handshake are worth more than that. You just cost yourself Kentucky truck plant. We had management leave the room, and Vice President Browning and Kentucky truck plant chairperson John Jaggers, who's on the National Negotiating Committee, and myself made the call. And we let John make the call to take the plan out. We didn't wait till Friday, and we didn't wait a minute. We then called President Todd Dunn at Local 862, and he and his local leadership walked 8,700 members off the job. And of course, they had the unwavering support of Regional Director Tim Smith.
Hey, 5 seconds. Just wanted to say that this is only possible because of our donors. If you want to see more of this, then consider donating yourself at tvlr.fm/donate.
So, it really sounds like Ford was just kind of leading y'all on over the last 2 weeks. And, for the idea that they're going to give y'all an offer that's the same as 2 weeks ago and not expect any repercussions is just kind of wild to me. Why? What do you think was in their head?
First of all, negotiating all three big three at the same time actually is a brilliant strategy because before you would see when it comes to contract time, they would pick a lead or a target. And then, it's back to business as usual, and people kind of lose a little faith in the process. And when are we going to go, even though everybody's negotiating? So this is good because it doesn't really whipsaw, but it challenges all three companies to try to be along the lines at the same time, and you can push for one, get something, and then come back to the other, work on it to the best of your ability to get something equal or greater. So it definitely benefits us. It's more challenging because the complexity is higher, but it really helps. In this case, when we went out, I got a call Wednesday sometime around 3:30 in the afternoon. Shawn Fain, President Fain, said, Brother Dunn, are you ready? Well, we had a pretty good playbook put together. I said, well, knock the dust off of it. Not much dust got on it because, it's only been about 4 weeks. We thought we were going on strike. But I think what happened is President Fain said, hey, look, y'all made some good advancements, with Chuck Browning. Chuck Browning, who is our National Ford Vice President, he is just a beast when it comes to career. I've watched him over the last 25 years. I've worked with him. He's led. Everybody is a team player. It's almost like the wolf pack mentality. And we've been disciplined and detailed. And that's what he said he wanted from the beginning and the start of this. So, when it came down to it, we're ready. Shawn said, hey, we may go south. And I think what happened is the company got complacent. They break a reprieve from another plant being picked because of the incremental and major advancements during the process. And, I know some folks said, well, Shawn's got some different tactics, but I think some of those tactics, President Fain's tactics, helped us make bigger advancements, right? Segmental, incremental, I guess, moving forward moments, and I think it's been genius. But also, I think maybe the company might have feeling like he's predictable. He'll give us till Friday. We got 4 days. It really aggravates and angers me because, this whole Ford family mentality, you've got members that have been out on the picket line for 4 weeks. Granted, yes, they said they were willing to strike. I'm not putting that on Ford. But, for Ford to take it serious over the last 2 weeks, what does that say about they care about those members that are on the picket line? Our members, I've got a guy I went to high school with, John Jaggers. He's a second-time national negotiator. Brilliant mind. I graduated high school. We split up, went our own ways. I went to war or tried to go to college, had to go to war during Desert Storm. But, it was just those, I guess, again, I hate to say it, iron sharpened irons moment. Everything that we do in life, we gain something from. And in this case, with the strike, we're all putting things together and going, hey, Ford Motor Company really don't care. We've got to be prepared if called upon. And we had a couple hours to think about that as the top leadership of 862. And the meeting was at 5:30, and I think about 5:38, I got a phone call, and President Fain said, him and Chuck Brown said, y'all do a great job down there. We're going on strike. What I was understanding that pretty much Ford Motor Company, when we told them at the national level that we were considering Kentucky truck plant, they said, do what you got to do. Okay. Yeah, that's bargaining in good faith, and it's not. And President Fain stood up and said, Chuck, take them out. And literally, we got a call and had about 50 minutes to take 2,700 people out of the Kentucky truck plant. And we did it with as much finesse as possible. We left it like we found it, put tools back. We got to come back in here and build these trucks and get going again once we get the strike over with and egress out of the plant. We kept our salary nurses in there until that was over, and they're on strike with us. We've got 2 cleaning companies that work under JLL. They're laid off, but we're giving them strike benefits through our International Executive Board instead of worrying about unemployment, searching for 5 jobs. So here's the union really putting their arms right around our members in solidarity. That's why you see that wheel and why it's so impactful when you look at it. And we're not going to leave one member behind. So we're on strike. It's about $4.5 million coming out of our international strike fund to take care of the Kentucky truck plant at $500 per member. Little assembly plant will be affected probably sometime middle of this week. by the end of this week, I look for the Louisville Assembly Plant, which is 22 miles away from the Kentucky Truck Plant here in Louisville, to lay it off. And we worked with strike benefits. I mean, we're getting unemployment. Governor Beshear, Team Kentucky, a friend of mine, we worked together during the pandemic to help people with unemployment, our community, our members, and anything that he's asked for, we've supported. He was there for us. But, while this whole last week has been going on, we've been talking about it. I'm getting stories about Ford in Michigan on plants that are affected by a strike but didn't go on strike, that they were protesting and challenging the state on not to pay unemployment. And I'm thinking, okay, here's this Ford family attitude again. Let's look at step back and look at it. So you haven't been negotiating, or you haven't done anything but bring almost the same thing to us in the past 2 weeks, but you have been working on trying to deny somebody's unemployment who legitimately trying to get it, but they're affected by a strike. Where is your tactics, right? Where is your strategy coming from? And some of the news media have been asking about strategies about the UAW. Well, let's talk about the almost nefarious or evil-like strategies of Ford Motor Company.
Right.
Get back to people. Let's get something going and let us take care of our members. So, down here in Louisville, Kentucky, I told the governor, I said, Governor, I appreciate your assistance, but we've asked our National Executive Board to look at these 30-some hundred members out of the Louisville Assembly Plant and consider, and they had already basically given us the idea. So, those Louisville Assembly Plant members are going to be drawing strike benefits. They'll have to do a strike duty, if you will. They won't work the picket line, but we're working with Metro United Way. So we'll have almost 4,000 members next week volunteering in the community to do their 4-hour duty to give back. So now the community is going to see us give back through a strike. They're going to see what Ford Motor Company is doing and how they're acting. And so this is where all of this starts to come together, right? I don't want to start with a 98-piece puzzle, a 100-piece puzzle with 98 pieces. I mean, we're coming at this from all angles, and people are putting together this puzzle. They're going, wow, there's something to the UAW thing. There's something to labor unions. I'm also president of the Central Labor Council. We're 54,000 members, and not to go long in the tooth, but I've got to say on there how many other unions are helping us. Teachers gave us 5,000. State Fed came over and gave us 5,000 to help the strike. We're having unions come over, steel workers come over and brought burn barrels, wood from Louisville Slugger that they couldn't use. And all these unions are coming in from everywhere, out of state, out of county, to support us and say, hey, whatever you need, where you. So, it's not going to be too much longer for it to resonate with people who wouldn't think unions do something. And I tell you what, if you give a union a look, it'll help you out.
Absolutely. And I'm Secretary Treasurer of the Labor Council here in North Alabama, and the Spring Hill plant is only an hour and a half away from us, UAW 1853. And so we're waiting with bated breath to support them if they go on strike. So we'll be looking for that. And you're all of this stuff that you're talking about, I just want to underscore, like, this is it's almost a logistical nightmare for the people that have to put all these plans together. And so there's a lot of work that goes into that, just the planning part of it. And then the actual execution and getting these people out on strike and convincing them that this is good and this is what you should do and all of this kind of stuff. And I watched an interview that you gave to the Courier-Journal, which is a prominent news outlet in Kentucky. And you had we'll play this clip, and I'd like to get for the audience, and I'd like to get your reactions on the strike now that, as you said in this interview from a couple of months back, that you had to use this tool that had gotten rusty. Let's play this clip.
We hope we don't strike, but if we have to, that's a tool in a tool belt that's dusty, rusty, and hasn't been used. But I'll tell you this, we've sharpened our tools and we're prepared to go into whatever it is. Don't want to say battle, but but we're prepared to go forward and use every tool we can to get these jobs back to where they've kind of fallen short.
And so, like you said, you know, the strike tool at you know, Ford and Louisville and the Kentucky truck plant had kind of gotten rusty. And so what was the work that went into sharpening that tool and getting ready to execute?
So, you know, our executive board, we're an amalgamated local union. So for those listeners that don't understand amalgamated union is, so our union is comprised of about 12,373 approximate people. I think is what the number just come to my head. And the rest of the almost 20,000 are retirees. So you had retirees working a segment of the strike process to help out. Our standing committees are our backbone, our structure of our union. So these standing committees will be like Women's Committee, Veterans Committee, Civil and Human Rights Committee, Young Workers Committee, which is basically new members to our union. Consumer Affairs. So all of these committees come together. So we asked them all to take on a responsibility. Our Recreation Committee basically has the kitchen duties. They're the ones making sure food's being prepared, water's on the picket line. So every team member, as we would call our UAW team, has a certain specific job and a protocol that we execute. And we worked really hard to make sure that communication that's normally broken, right, worked with our membership. And one thing that we've done has been really transparent with our members. With our UAW app is a one-way communication tool. There's not a back and forth. You don't have that Facebook and blogs and all that stuff. It's just simple, direct, precise information to put in the members' hands. So we've been trying to tell them every step of the way, you know, for so many months, prepare, save money. So many months, get your information in, get it changed so we can contact you, get your card signed so we can get you on a text alert system, and just walking them through every aspect of a possibility of a strike. And that hasn't been the last month, the last 3 months, the last 6 months, last year. It's been the last year and a half. So knowing this coming, knowing these were going to be some difficult times. I mean, we've forced Ford Motor Company over the past year and a half, almost 2 years, to come up with some major corrections of leapfrogging some of the conditions that have occurred with the tier system that just brought so many other problems to the table, and forced Ford Motor Company and didn't really force them, but worked with them and negotiated in good faith, and they fixed a lot of things. So that told me Ford Motor Company knew they had to do the right thing, was worried, and wanted to show that they were working in good faith, and they did. But I think they were also then preparing. This is going to be a tough set of negotiations. You know, we helped save this company during the fall there of the auto manufacturing system. You know, we have Mitch McConnell. I can remember and hear the words in my head right now. Let the companies go bankrupt. Other companies will come in line behind. You know, if the American auto workers would have let everything go bankruptcy and go defunct, it would have crippled. It would have crippled America. I remember being at a brake supplier up near E-Town around that time, and they were working on voting on being union or not. And news media was getting involved, and one of the reporters said, "Well, what can you tell right now here, the people of this community, how a union is going to benefit this plant?" And that was the easiest question you gave me today. If I hit this, can I? And he said, "What do you mean?" I said, "If we haven't done what we've done at Ford Motor Company to save Ford Motor Company, we would already have been done." I said, "Who manufactures brakes here at this plant?" They were like GM, Chrysler, Toyota, and Nissan, Ford. I said, "So take three of those big three out of there, and then take that demand out. How many workers here are going to be laid off, or is this plant going to be here if we're gone?" Silence. It's the first time I ever heard a reporter become silent. And I said, exactly. I said, it's all relative to an individual, an employee, a union member, based upon the outlook of what we're doing. And, the unions are so important in what we're the message we're trying to do, trying to get there. So it's a long road. I'm not going to be the last guy to try to put as much on the table, as long as we, like you said, leave it better than we found it, put another log in a wood pile, and let that next level of leadership, which I had been worried about. But what we're in right now, we've got a bucket full of great basket full of great people coming up, and I think that they're going to step up and really take this and take it to new heights. So it's tough, but it's almost hair raising and honoring to see what I'm seeing. And I'm just showing our membership. Here's the picture that you're creating, and it's not an aha moment. It's going to be there for a while.
You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.